So this session is going to talk about the Bitrix24 CRM and how it can be used as a perfect tool for people working remotely, but also obviously working remotely as a team. So Bitrix CRM consists of a number of different modules that are going to be useful for generating leads, for working your way through and qualifying those leads, turning them into actual deals inside the system, and also using the CRM for a contact and company management system. So you can store all the details of your companies that you work with, all the contacts, details of the people that you work with. So Bitrix, as I say, is a fantastic tool for any business needing a CRM. And generally how Bitrix works, and I'll give you an overview of the CRM here, is that we have a leads module. And the leads module allows you to store and record brand new inquiries from your customers. And those inquiries may come from your website. Those inquiries may come from things such as Facebook or Instagram or your live chat on your website. And Bitrix gives you all of the tools to generate those leads. So it might be the first thing that you would want to do is create a web form to embed on your website. So it might be that you have a website built on WordPress, or it might be that you built your own site out of HTML, PHP, whatever coding language it is. So you might want to put a Bitrix24 CRM form on there to generate those inquiries. So you can see if you go into the CRM form section, then what we can do is we can add a new form. So let's click on add a new form and let's call it our website lead inquiry form. So this is just labeling it inside Bitrix. And then what we can do is we can say, please get in touch using the form below. So this is what your customer will see on your website. Please fill in all the details below. Or you can put whatever you want on there. So this is what the customer will see. And then the important part is what you're going to do with this once this data has been submitted via the form. In our case, what we're going to do is we're going to generate a new lead. So you can see here we have a lead, and we have present all of the lead fields that are existing on our system. So that includes custom fields as well. So we can put name, last name. We might also want to put company name in there as well. And then we're going to need to collect something like a phone number and an email address. So every time I've clicked on one of these, you can see that it's building up the actual form here. If you hover over the form field, click on the little gear icon, you can actually change the form field name itself without changing the field inside Bitrix. You can make them required as well. So we're probably going to make the email address and the phone number a required field. So this is our form. We can style it however we wish. So it might be that we want a green button, and we can change the text color if we want. In our case, we're going to have this form generate a lead, and Max Smith is going to be responsible for the leads that get generated by this. So you can see here, I can click on change, and we can change the responsible person of the lead that is going to create if we wanted to. So you can see here, furthermore, is we can have the powered by Bitrix24 signature removed off the form if you want to. You can just click on this. You can also perform field rules. So maybe if you have a drop down, you can select a drop down to show and hide different fields. But this is the most important part. Saved form data is going to create one of these different entities. So in our case, we're going to create a lead. We could have it create a contact. we could have it create a deal and a contact. We could have it create a quote and a contact, or we can just have it create an invoice and a contact inside Bitrix. In our case, we're going to create a new lead because these are brand new inquiries coming from our website. And what we can see here is we can see how we want to deal with any duplicates. So it might be that the same person already exists in your leads. What do you want it to do? Merge and actually update the lead record, replace it, or allow duplicates. We can set hidden fields in the form. So if you want data to come through that maybe you don't want the user to fill out, you can select those fields here and preset any values towards those fields. You can track them using the Google Analytics, and you can style them up to ensure that they fit in with the style of your website so they don't just look like they're stuck onto your website. So you can use the predefined themes, or you can introduce your own CSS styling on there. And the further requirements are quite easy and straightforward to understand. You can have a success message, a failed message, and based on if it's a successful form or a failed form, you can redirect to maybe a thank you page on your website. We'd always generally recommend using the reCAPTCHA if you want to stop any spam coming into your CRM. And if you've got a Bitrix telephony set up, you can actually create a callback form. So the form will be submitted. Bitrix will start then using the Bitrix telephony to dial back the customer that has submitted the form. So just select that if that's how you want to use this kind of form. Click on Save, and then the form will appear in your form list. So you can see here, website lead inquiry form. All you need to do then, click on Enable, and then click on Embed Code. The embed code then allows you to copy it and paste it onto your website. So whether it's a WordPress site, as I said, a static built website, HTML, PHP, all you need to do, copy this, copy to clipboard, and then paste it into wherever you want it on your site. That will put the form on a specific page. If you want a button, you can click on the button and it would pop up, or you can click on a text link and it would also pop up as well. And finally, the option is when somebody arrives on a page on your website, you can have the form pop up after a specific amount of seconds. In this case, it's going to be 5 seconds. So as I say, these are great tools and free tools to use to generate those inquiries and easy to implement into your website. If we look at the public form that it creates, you can see it here. So I can say Andrew Naylor, and I can say it's going to be intraphase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our number. And then I can go. And then what I can do is click on here and merge. So maybe I could just put some unique data in here. Just so, because I think I'd set merge, and what I want to do is actually make it create a new lead. So you can see in here what will happen now is that when I click into leads, you can see here we have a new lead that's been created, website lead inquiry form. And if I click into it, you'll be able to see the data that has been submitted from the form. And that is a great way to generate quick inquiries from your website into Bitrix. There are also other tools in Bitrix to use. So if you click into the contact center, you can actually connect up things such as live chat. You can connect up your Facebook account. So if somebody messages you from Facebook, it will come through to the open channels widget on the right hand side, and you can directly speak with somebody on Facebook from within Bitrix. And then you can generate those leads from that inquiry as well. So these are all lead generating tools. Furthermore, you can add Facebook comments. So if you put a post on Facebook, somebody comments, you can reply directly to that post from within Bitrix. And the same goes for Instagram. If you put a post up on Instagram, somebody writes a comment on that post, it will come up into your open channels widget here, and you can speak directly to that comment on Instagram. So these are all fantastic ways of generating leads inside Bitrix. It's simple connections that you can do. These aren't difficult to set up. There are step-by-step guides on the Bitrix24 website to set these up if you need them to. So if we go back into the CRM, let's just briefly have a look at how people work on leads. So this new inquiry has come in, and then what we can do here is set up a lead process, lead qualification process. So the new lead has come in. We then have another status that says contact client. So if I was to move this particular lead on to contact client, then what I can do is start booking in some activity on the right-hand side here. So it might be that I want to schedule a call for tomorrow morning. So Friday at 10 a.m., I'm going to have an introduction call, speak with the lead about our Bitrix24 services. So you can see the contact has been put in, the subject in here. It's going to be an outbound call, and I'm logged in as Max Smith. That's who's going to be responsible for that call. And you can see here that we now have some planned activity against this specific lead. Now, once that time comes, what you can do is, obviously, if you've got Bitrix telephony connected up, you can dial straight from the system. So you can click on the number and dial that particular lead itself, and you can see that it stores it in here. And again, if you've got Bitrix telephony set up, it will actually record that call and put that call into the activity stream of this particular lead. Furthermore, if you want to make the call maybe on your office phones without using Bitrix telephony or a mobile, then you can click into the call itself, and you can actually write notes on the call. So if I wanted to say, let's say, notes, spoke with a customer, they would like some training Bitrix24. So if I click on here, and maybe because I've made the call, I can click on completed. I click on save here now, and you can see that it goes out of the planned activity, and you can see that the notes are quite clearly visible in the activity stream outbound call activity. So it's a great way of working. So based on that, we can qualify it a little bit more. We can move it along our lead process. And you can see here, create quote. And you may have seen just what has just popped up is a task. So we have some automation in place to generate a new task. So if I click into here, the task will slide out, and you can see that it's made the responsible person of the lead responsible for the task of generating a quote. This particular task is also assigned back to the lead, so you'll be able to see where that is associated to. So it might be that if you go into tasks on the left-hand menu here, you can actually see that we have the task on my own personal task list. I'd recommend taking a look at the recording of our tasks and projects to learn a little bit more about tasks and how you can work within them. But you should be generating tasks for things that need to be carried out, whether by the responsible person or another one of your colleagues. So I mentioned about having these automation rules in place, and this is a key and fundamental part of working in the Bitrix24 CRM, because it takes the manual work out of creating these tasks. So for example, we clicked on create quote. That has generated a task for somebody to work on the quote for this particular lead. If I click into automation here, you can actually see what has already run based on the status of the lead is in. So it's gone to create quote, and it's generated this task. Now we'll have a look at the automation a little bit later on in this recording, but what we can do here is you can stack these automation rules on top of one another to be able to carry out multiple tasks, and we can also put timeframes on these tasks and also conditions. So these are a great way of working. So the next part of this is we're going to, let's just close out this task. We're not going to quote them at this particular stage on this recording. But if we move down the line, quote sent, follow up with client, again, that's going to trigger an automation rule. And it might be that we want to start writing some notes on this particular lead. So spoken with the client, they are interested taking annual support and also training. So if I click on send here, again, you can write notes. And the whole purpose of this is qualifying them, as I've mentioned, and building up a history of communication and a history of activity. You can also email directly from within Bitrix, so you can email the customer itself. So again, you don't need to be connected to Outlook or anything like that. You can integrate your email inside Bitrix. You can use templates, predefined templates from here. So we can say maybe a welcome email, and you can see here it automatically populates it. So if I click on send here, that again will then save that activity into the activity stream on the right hand side here. So this is a fantastic tool. You don't need, all you need is an internet connection to start using the CRM within Bitrix. And as I've mentioned, having this activity, obviously if you have a lot of stages to qualify the customer, then what you're going to do is you're going to build up a lot of different history. And Bitrix offers some fantastic tools to be able to get to the information that you want to. So you just click on the little filter tool here, and it might be that we want to see all emails that have been sent to this particular customer. So click on email, click on any date, and you can then see it will filter out that particular activity. Alternatively, we could say type for the word inquiry, and you can see here, because inquiry, it's got inquiry in here. So it will pull up all the details from that. So it's not only easily filtering different types of activity, but you can also search content within that particular activity. So again, it's a great and easy way to find the information that you need to quickly and easily. So the whole purpose, as I mentioned, is qualifying this. Let's give it a new name and say, now that we know that so we'll say support and training services. Now that we've qualified them, we actually realize that they are interested in taking some of our services. The main goal of this is to complete the lead. So the completing the lead gives you two options. You can junk the lead. So you can junk the lead and say maybe they don't want to take out the services. During a qualification process, everybody's not going to close out a qualification with a positive result. They might have no budget. They might just not respond anymore, not pick up your calls. And junking the lead doesn't delete it off the system. What it does is it just makes it into whatever type of category junk lead that you've selected. Because you can have multiple, when I click on junk, you have multiple reasons why you might select. And that will then allow you to filter and search for all the junk leads maybe in March, and then you can remarket to them at any given time using the CRM marketing tools. So it's a good way of, if what maybe a particular lead has said they don't have a budget, maybe next month you're going to introduce a sale on support and training, you can remarket to all the people that you've junked because they didn't have a budget in March. Because then a sale is on, the likelihood is that now that the cost has been reduced due to a sale, is that you can send an email out to them telling them of the sale, and you might re-engage with them and close out that particular opportunity. The other side of that, and the one that you're aiming to obviously achieve, is to convert it and convert it into a deal. And you have multiple options in here. So you can convert to a deal, a contact, and a company. So as long as you've got this information that you've collected during this qualification process, maybe you don't deal with companies, so you might not want to create a deal, a contact in a company. Maybe you only deal with the end user. So in that case, you would convert this lead into a deal and a contact. Or you might not deal with the end user, you might just deal with companies. So you can convert it to a deal and a company. In my case, I'm going to click on deal, contact, and a company. And then what it's going to ask me, it's going to ask me which deal pipeline that I want to drop it into. So within Bitrix, a deal, how I would classify what a deal is a qualified opportunity. And Bitrix offers some great tools within the deals module itself, because it allows you to categorize your deals within a specific pipeline. So you can see here that we have a whole range of different deal pipelines. And one example I like to give is that, let's just say a lead came in and you can see that I've qualified it to be support and training services. We have a pipeline for Bitrix24 add-on opportunities. So things like support and training fall into this particular category. So I would assign this to the Bitrix24 add-on opportunities. However, somebody may submit the form and say they're interested in a Bitrix24 cloud product, so maybe a professional license. In that case, we would drop it into the cloud opportunities pipeline. So I'm sure many of you that can categorize your opportunities into different segments, and it just allows you then to follow that specific sales process for that pipeline. So when I click into save, what it's going to do, it's going to ask me if previous time we've converted a lead, we have added two new fields. It's asking me, do I want to create them in a contact in a company? In this case, I don't want to. So if I click on continue now, what it's done, it's automatically taken the information from the lead and all the history as well, and created a deal in the Bitrix24 add-ons pipeline. Not only has it created the deal, but it's also taken the information that I collected in terms of the contact name, the contact number, and the email address. So you can see here, it's created a new contact within Bitrix. So I can click on this and I can open up the contact. It's also created the company. So Intraphase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's created the company in here as well. So it's taken out all the manual work you would need to do to add a new company, add a new contact and assign it to the company, and add a new deal and assign it both to the contact and the company. So everything is intertwined together as it should be, very clear that the opportunity has come in. So because of that, we've now dropped out of our leads funnel. So we've converted that. And the reason why it's dropped out is because I only have showing all in progress. So it's not showing me the completed and won and the completed and jumped. So if I wanted to see those, I would just click off this filter and I'd be able to see a list of all won jobs and all lost jobs as well. So it's quite a good way of doing it because you can see all in progress. So now that let's move from leads into deals. And when I'm in deals here, I'm in the Bitrix24 add-on opportunities pipeline. So that's where I converted that lead into and dropped it into that specific pipeline. So you can see support and training services here. And the reason why we have pipelines, just going back to that specific area, is because we would work on an inquiry for support and training services very differently to if somebody was inquiring about a particular license. Because if somebody's inquiring about a particular license, it may be that we have a demonstration phase in the sales process. So you can see here we have these stages for this particular pipeline. But if I jump to cloud opportunities, you can see here we have a complete set of different stages. And that allows you to clearly define a sales process for each particular pipeline. So if I clicked on on-premise, again, you will see a different set of stages. And then again, if I said pre, you can see again, we have a complete set of stages. So you can clearly define your sales process for each type of opportunity coming in to Bitrix. And then the whole purpose of the deals is that there is a monetary value associated to the opportunity. So if we click on support and training services, which is the lead that has come in, what we can now do is assign a product to it. And Bitrix allows you to add a catalog of different products. So if I click on select product here, it might be that we want some different products. I don't think we have too many in this in here. So it might be if I clicked on select for the London event, instead of calling it that, what I could do, in fact, let's not do that. Let's actually add a new product and we'll call it Bitrix24 training. And we can select one of our currencies. So let's select this is going, let's set it as British pounds, and we'll say that it's £100. So you can now see Bitrix24 training, £100, and we use quantities for hours. So it might be that this inquiry is requested 4 hours of training. So that's going to be £400. We can add a new product and let's call it Bitrix24 support. And in this case, it's going to be £750. So we click on here, and again, it's added Bitrix support, and it's given us a total. You can define taxes for your regions in the Bitrix24 CRM settings, so you can define all of that. So now what that's done is it's put a value associated to the deal. So if I now come out of here, we can now see this particular value of 1,150 is sat in the unassigned stage. And because, as I've mentioned, deals are associated to monetary values, the good thing about that is it allows you to see where the money is sat in any one of your particular sales pipelines. So at the moment we have 1,150, we've got 5,500 in spoken to, and what we should do now is start speaking with the customer again. So what we should probably do is send them an email or book a phone call in to discuss when they want this training, if they're still happy with taking support out, and so on and so forth. So I could send them an email saying Bitrix24 support training, hello, I'm taking these. And then we can click on send. And again, that will book that activity out and put it into the activity stream for this particular deal. So now that we've done that, what we can do is we can move the status on to spoken to. And again, we have some automation rules in place here. So we can see, if I click into automation, we can see that we've had a scheduled call booked in, we've spoken to, we send them an SMS message, and we've sent them to an email. We've sent them an email as well. So now you can see it's moved out of the unassigned stage, and now we have 6,650. And the whole purpose of this is then to move it along, and we have a required field at a particular stage. So we can set the issue, no issues here. So it won't let us move it on without selecting that. And you can see now the money is increasing for each particular stage of the pipeline you move it to. You can add your own unique fields in here if you wanted to. It's completely up to you what fields you have in here. And what you can do as well is, obviously we're going to need to quote this customer. So what we can do is we can click into quotes and we can add a new quote. And what that will do is it will add a quote onto the system. So you can see in here, it's generated a particular quote. Or what we can do, the alternate way, is click on generate quote up in the top right hand corner here as well. So they're the ways that you can create quotes within here. So you can see the ones that I have created on here. I've actually clicked into the wrong one. So if you click back into deals and click into support and training services, I moved the wrong one, my apologies. So you can click into here, click on quote, and that will generate a quote. And you can see that it automatically assigns the product, Bitrix24 training, the amount. And what we can also do in Bitrix is have our own quote templates, have our own invoice templates, and we can do so by clicking into the document and clicking on quote. Bitrix works with documents in a way that you can design and brand up a Word document, so it's very easy to create. So if I was to download this particular one here and open it up, it will open up in Pages in a moment. I'm on a Mac here, so if you've got Windows, it will open up on Word as long as you've got Word processor. But you can see here how you can brand and style up and put these symbolic codes in the relevant places. These are very easy to create and style up however you wish. The symbolic codes I was referring to in the Word document are accessible in the little gear icon up at the top. You click in fields and you can get all the fields that exist within the quote itself. You can see source quote, and we can copy that symbolic code and put it into that specific template. Once you've designed and branded up your Word document, simply re-upload it back up to Bitrix and ask it which section you want to bind it to. If it's a quote, bind it to the quote section, because that will then allow you to generate a quote PDF template. So if I click into this, it's not too pretty, our design, but it will generate the PDF here. You can preview it. So we can see in here, it's previewed, Bitrix24 training, Bitrix24 support, tells us the total value. We can download it as a PDF and send it via our own email if we wanted to, or alternatively, we can click on send and send it via email here. So I can say, I'm going to send it to the contact that's associated to it. Because again, doing it in this process allows us to everything to be associated with one another. We can click in here and we can say a template, click on send, and then that will send this particular PDF to the customer. So I mentioned that everything is intertwined. So because Andrew Naylor, the contact, interface 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can see the original lead it's come from, and we can also see the deal that we converted that lead into. So everything is linked, and that's essential because we need to know where we are within this particular process. We also have some statuses, so we can say sent to client. And now let's just go into the company and see where we are. So a good example of this is, let's just say somebody called up from interface 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go into the CRM and we find the company within the CRM. So let's just do that. So let's just say interface 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has called up. We go into your CRM, we go to companies, we type in interface 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will pull up the company. So whilst you're on the phone to them, you can actually pull up this. You can see any of the activity. But furthermore, if you click into the deals tab at the top, you can see any outstanding opportunities that are current for this particular company. So I can see, oh, yeah, I can see that you're currently interested in the support and training services. Click into quotes. We can also see that we've sent you the quotation because it's currently at the status sent to client. So we can then move that to being reviewed by the client. And whilst you're on the phone to them, it may be that you say, yeah, we want to go ahead with it. So we can say that it's been approved. And now what we would do is go into the deal and progress it further. So we could say pending closed. And again, we can put some no issues, click on save. And now what you can do is, because we've generated a quote already, what we can do instead is now we want to generate an invoice. So we click down, click on invoice, and it will automatically generate the information inside the invoice. So we might want to change the invoice date. We might also want to pay before a specific date. So we can click on that. We can change the currency. We can see here the deal that it's associated against, the company and the contact it's associating against. We can add a location in if we wanted to. And you can see here, it wants to be paying the company interface. We can add some comments and notes, which we can therefore put into the template that we generate once this invoice has been created. And you can see the products have automatically come through from the deal as well. So we click on continue here, and that will then generate this invoice. So you can see here it's generated against the company and the contact, and it's also generated against the deal. And pretty much like the quotation, we can generate a invoice PDF. So we click on the invoice PDF here. And obviously, as we've mentioned before, you can create and style up your own PDFs. So once it's generated, you can preview it here. You can download it pretty much as you could with the quote. You can then send it via email if you wanted to send it within Bitrix. So that is how we would generate the invoice. Once we've sent that, we can move the status up for the invoice. And then let's go back to the deal itself. So if you click into the deals tab at the top, click into deals here. And now what we'll be able to see is we'll be able to see that we have an invoice that has been generated against it. Furthermore, if we go back into the company, we can see, not only can we see the deal, which is at pending closed, we can see the quote that has been won, and now we can see the invoice that has been generated. So if that company was to call up, we would then find the company. We'll be able to see any open deals, any quotes that have been generated, any invoices. So we would know where this company is and what information we can easily access within that particular company. So the idea is that obviously once we are happy, so the customer may call up and say, yeah, it's been confirmed. And then what we'll do is close out and win that invoice. We can put the invoice number in if we wanted to. So maybe in this case, it'd be 25, client as paid. Click on that, that will then win the invoice. And then finally, we can close out and win the deal itself. So what we'll see here, you can see we have some automation automatically gone through. And if we go back into the company, again, what we'll be able to see here is not only has the deal been won, we have some further automation that is going to pass the new deal into a new pipeline. So we've got an on-premise opportunities pipeline. I'll show you that in a moment. You might want to, once a deal has been closed and won in one particular pipeline, you might want to pass it to another particular pipeline, maybe to try and further the chance of an additional sale, or you might want a post-sale process to ensure that they're being contacted regularly to make sure that they're okay with the sale that's being carried out. We saw a moment ago that the invoice had been won, and we can now see that the invoice has been won as well. So what I was mentioning there was just with regards to the passing of deals between pipelines. So Bitrix has a sales funnels and tunnels option in the pipeline dropdown. So if we click into here, what we can see is that we were previously in the Bitrix24 add-ons pipeline. And you can see this tunnel. This tunnel is happening on all closed and won deals within the Bitrix24 add-ons pipeline. So let's just remove that. I'll just show you how to add one onto there. So what we can do is click on the little dot, and then we can drag it to another dot. So it might be that we want it in any other particular pipeline. So if I just click on that and leave it, that's how you would then, once this deal is closed and won, it would then make a copy of that deal and put it into the pipeline that you have connected it to. So as I say, this is quite good, especially if we were to have maybe a sale on support or training. Then what we would do is we would then maybe pass it to another license pipeline to try and see if there's any other benefits and possibilities of closing an opportunity selling a license, for example. Furthermore, we see many of our clients have additional pipelines for after sales. So you might have an after sales funnel. And what that will do is you can have automatic automation in place to move it along particular stages in your after sales pipeline. So it might be after 10 days, we send an automatic email making sure everything's okay. And then we automatically move it to the next stage, wait maybe 30 days, and then have an automatic follow-up email. And then again, 30 days. And that will ensure that your customer is always being contacted and the aftercare is in place without you necessarily having to think about it, unless obviously the customer got back in touch with you. So these are a great tool. I recommend having a look at them and having a play around with them. So the only thing that we really haven't touched upon within the CRM is with regards to the ability to filter. So filters in Bitrix are very powerful tools, and it's probably one of the most common features that you are going to be using. So let's just say, as an example, the company called up. We would then search for that company. So I can search for Invoices here, and then it would automatically pull up the companies that have got something to do with interface. You can see this has got the email, but this has also got the company name. So if I said this was Interface Limited, then it will obviously narrow the search results down. So you can have a free text search, and this is the same in companies, contacts, quotes, invoices, deals, and leads. But what one of the most popular tools is having access to all the fields inside the element that you're within. So if I click on Add Field here, we have all the custom fields and all the standard fields to be able to access. So maybe if we wanted to choose industry, then just click in the background. You can select here, and then we can select maybe they're in their delivery, finance, or banking services. We click on search. That will then pull up all the companies that are related to one of those particular industries. If you wanted to save that, then we just click on Save Filter. Let's just say this is banking companies. Click on Save. It won't bring up any results because we don't have any of those types of companies. But next time you arrive in the CRM, your filter will be saved on the left-hand side. So it is a great way of easily and quickly accessing the data that you need to. And as I mentioned, that's exactly the same in all of the different modules up here. So that is an overview of the CRM. We would recommend you configuring the CRM to meet your requirements for your business. All of the configuration settings are going to be in the Settings tab within the CRM. And if you're an administrator or somebody that has permissions set to access the CRM settings, then you will see all of the different options here. So everything from the start point, where generally the statuses and drop downs and the deal pipelines are the two core areas that you will be within here to set up lead statuses, deal stages per pipeline. The form and report settings will give you access to create custom fields within each of the different modules. Permissions are essential if you're wanting to lock down specific information within the CRM. So just a point on that is that if we just go into the leads module for an example, and you can see here that we have a responsible person. So Max Smith, Max Smith, Max Smith. Every element and every entity within the CRM has a responsible person assigned to it. So your permissions can be set so people can only see their own permission, their own leads. They can see their own deals, and they can see their own contacts and companies. You can also set it so you can see leads, deals, contacts, and companies that are within your department. So your department is set in the employees section here. You can set up a company structure. That is a key area. So if you've got any questions about that, please do get in touch with us. We can help and assist with that. Automation, we've touched upon automation within the CRM already, but this is just the area where you can set business processes, the automation for the leads, and the automation for the deals as well. These are the same areas that you would access within the leads module here itself, so automation. Email, you can obviously connect your email up to Bitrix, which I will show you in a moment. And you can also set email templates. So you would come into email, click into email templates, and what we're referring to here is the ability to click into any one of the CRM elements, click into email, and then click into template and select your template from here. This is where you set those specific templates. And I think to start off with, those are your core areas of Bitrix and the CRM. The final area that we'll just touch upon, because it's going to be essential for remote working, is going to be in the webmail section on your left-hand side. If you're on an on-premise version, it's going to say mail. But if you click into webmail here, let me just disconnect this particular mailbox just to show you how to set it up. So you can connect any mail client into Bitrix, and if you don't have one of these, then you can use the IMAP settings. We have an example Outlook. So if I just type in here, interface demo at outlook.com and type in our password, it's as simple as that to connect your email up. Oh, I think I typed in the password wrong, so let me just... There we go. So it's as easy as that to connect up your email. Then what we can do is bring as many emails as we like into the actual mailbox inside Bitrix. You can determine whether you want to send using your external SMTP. We would usually always say to do this. So that would allow you then to send emails directly from interface demo at outlook.com. But then this is the important part, the CRM integration. So how Bitrix works is it creates a mailbox inside Bitrix, but you can continue to use your mail provider, whether it's Outlook, Gmail. You can continue to send and receive emails from that mailbox. You don't have to use the mailbox inside Bitrix to send and receive emails. The idea is that you connect your mailbox up into Bitrix, and then what you will do is Bitrix will receive all your incoming emails. It will check to see who that email is from. If that email is from an email address that exists inside the CRM, then it will take a copy of that email and put it against that particular contact. Alternatively, every email that you send out, Bitrix will check to see who you are sending the email to. If that email address sits in your CRM, then it will take a copy of that email and put it into the activity stream of that particular contact. So if we click into the contacts here, just show you where I mean. So it will take a copy of that email and put it into this particular activity stream here. So you can see here we have an outgoing email. If you've sent an email from Outlook or Gmail and you have your email connected up inside Bitrix, then it will take a copy of it and put it in here. So it's quite important. Decide how many emails you want to process initially. It can take a little bit of time if you've got a lot of emails. Bitrix will sync up your email around about every 10 minutes. If you're not logged in, it won't sync up. So what we would usually recommend doing is route emails from existing clients to CRM managers. That means if somebody's logged into your system, it will continue syncing your mailbox, whether you're logged in or not. If you want to create new leads from all email addresses that you've received that don't exist in the CRM, click on here. It's probably not advised for your own personal email address because it will create a lot of leads that aren't necessarily brand new inquiries. You might receive email marketing from companies and it will create leads on that. So recommend deselecting that if it is a personal. If you are connecting up an email address that is solely for lead creation, this option is perfect for you. You can create contacts for all outgoing emails that you send, and then that will obviously create a new contact. Again, if it's for your personal, I probably wouldn't recommend it, just so you can have clean data within your CRM. So I would deselect that, and then you can create contacts using your attached V card if you want to. If you do have these options selected, you can decide who's going to be responsible for them. And finally, you can see in here who you want to provide access to your mailbox. So if I click on connect, what that's going to do, it's going to start connecting up in here and synchronizing all the emails. Now we don't have too many emails that get sent to this particular demo mailbox. I've only brought in the last month, so it might not bring in any. But if you are bringing in like all your emails from all the time, just be aware that this process does take quite a long time to bring in those particular emails. But what you can do, as I mentioned, you don't need to use the mailbox inside Bitrix if you have the CRM integration ticked. But obviously, it's great for remote working if you do want to, if you don't have maybe Outlook or Office 365 on your computer, then you can just use Bitrix Mail. So you can see here we have quite a few in here already. And you can see in here the ones that have already automatically synced to the CRM. But Bitrix also has some great tools to use the mailbox tool in here, because what you can do is you can actually create a task from an email. And then if you take a look at our task and projects recording, then you'll be able to see all the information about how to create tasks, how to assign tasks, and so on and so forth. But this mailbox tool allows you to take a copy of that email and put it into your colleagues' task pipeline, so then they can work on that specific tasks without having you to forward an email on. So this is a fantastic tool, especially for remote working. So please do, if you're wanting to get your emails into the CRM, to get that email inbox connected up. So hopefully that gives you a good overview of the Bitrix24 CRM. If you do have any questions, please get in touch with us with our contact details on the next screen. But for now, bye for now.